Folks, and welcome to the View podcast for the match day review of Blackburn Rovers 1, Leeds United 0. Not a great day at the office. Another away game where Leeds drop points. Not ideal on the road. Takes the momentum out of the sails a little bit, but never going to be an easy game going away to Blackburn Rovers, who are in decent form and did take points off of Middlesbrough recently as well and ended their winning streak. Joined by Gerry McNamee, formerly of LS11, and Locke from Locke Leeds, to go over the game and to talk about it. And we'll cover up a few bits and pieces outside just the overview. We are going to look at the low block conversation at some point throughout the stream tonight, and we've got some visuals from Locke as well to cover. But we'll check in with the lads and we'll get their overviews on the game. Gerry, first things first, how are you and how are things?
I've got a bit of a cold, man flu, but I'm getting through it. I was in Blackburn on Saturday, slightly hungover from a Christmas do. It's not a nice town, even into one of the shops. The advent calendars have windows boarded up in them. That's the sort of place it is. It wasn't a good day all around. It was the old, seen the movie before, against a middle of the road championship team, and we go 1-0 down, and we just huff and puff, and we can't break it down. And it was a poor performance. And I was full of beans after the last two games and thinking, yeah, things are going to be great. And it's okay. It's okay to be critical. You can be, when things are good, you can be happy, but you can be critical. And we're repeating ourselves. A lot of stuff. Can't break down teams. Late substitutions, panic substitutions, players off form. It was hard to pick anybody out. And Blackburn thoroughly deserved their win. And as we were just saying before, they had a few big chances, and we didn't. We had a couple. We disallowed goal, but not a good day. And we got to be better. And can somebody sort out our set pieces? It's beyond a joke. I know we always talk about it, but every time we get a corner, you think, back to the centre circle or back to Melia. There's nobody winning headers. I back Joe Rodon every game, and I think he's won 2 headers all season. It's got to be better. Yeah. So I'm a bit fed. The weather's rubbish as well. And I got a speeding ticket coming back from Swansea last week. Not bad enough I nearly drowned. We got a speeding ticket. I'm not happy. Anyway, I'm sort of watching the FA Cup draw behind us just to see who we get. Right. So I'll let you know when something pops out. It'll be away to Liverpool. We know that.
Probably. Yeah, we'll get the update when you see it there, Gerry. Locke, how are you, mate? And what were your thoughts on it, just from a top line perspective?
Yeah, I'm tired, Joe. Can't lie. Yeah, just tired today, but every day apparently. Just wake up every day. I've got energy for 10 minutes, and after it, I'm just really tired. But yeah, it's life, isn't it? Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm over it now. To be honest, I've just one of them. I just want to wake up on game day 40. I can't speak as well. Game day 46. I want to wake up on game day 46. Just see where we are. Do you know what I mean?
I go back.
It's just every week. It's just a long process.
I go back to Johnny Buchan's conversation around why fans aren't happy with the football, the destination and the journey. I'm already looking forward to 46 games. I'm kind of already wishing the season was over so we could and then the Premier League's going to be crap anyway. So, then what? So you're wishing the year away, but you're not allowed to criticize the performance, or else you're in a bracket. You're not allowed to praise the performance too much, or you're a happy clapper. So you got to find that middle ground to talk about football. And if we win a game and we play badly, it doesn't matter about performance, move on. If we lose a game and we haven't played badly, it's just move on to the next one. Nobody wants to talk about stuff that's wrong and stuff that has been going wrong. And I should emphasize, the world's not on fire. We did lose a game of football, and we'll probably lose more games of football this season. But we do want to talk about why we lost the game of football and what happened in that. And John Eustace record, Locke, over Daniel Farke, coming back to bite him on the backside. 3 wins for John Eustace over Farke. Farke's only got 1. 3-0 it is. Farke's sides have yet to score a goal against a John Eustace team. So it looks like he has his number. And Blackburn, for me, didn't set up in a low block, didn't play a low block, played pretty decent football at times, were attacking Leeds. And we'll show you some numbers in a second to back that up. But yeah, it just feels like John Eustace might just have Daniel Farke's number, or is it just another away day to forget, Locke?
Both. I think he. It happens. It does happen. I know. I keep saying this, but for uni, we used to play a team who were not good at Salford, but they always beat us. They always beat us every time, and battered us as well. They just did. The way they played, we were all small, technical players, and they were just huge, physical, and quick, and we could just never deal with it. We tried different setups and stuff, and we could never deal with it. But This game wasn't like that. They didn't destroy us and all that stuff, did they? It was, we had most possession and all that. It's one of them things. It happens. It's kind of like in boxing as well, where you might have a guy who's a lot better than another, but he has a certain style. Yeah, Bamford's fault. Yeah. So that's the way it is. That style favors that one, and it's difficult to play against certain styles. And that's on you as a manager and a team a staff, everyone at the club, all the analysts, all the coaches, to find ways to beat the team in front of you.
Yeah.
That's football. And we failed to do it. And yeah, Eustace, when he plays Leeds, he loves it. He knows exactly what to do. And he keeps doing it. So fair play to him. Yeah.
Gerry, doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. We're seeing the same thing from Leeds. Again, late substitutions, although probably not the worst game to do it in, because there were other issues. Nobody really shone in that game. Nobody really stood out. It seemed like a very disjointed, flat performance. Like nobody seemed to know where anybody was. It always seemed to be making it up on the fly when they got the ball. It just didn't have the momentum we thought we were starting to see after the Swansea and Luton games.
Yep. It was, there were poor touches, taking too many touches, a couple of times get the ball. I was watching Alan Shearer last night on Match of the Day, and they were saying he was annoyed when the winger doesn't get the ball. And I think he was talking about Doka and Man City. And it was a lot of that. You get the ball, one touch too many, and you're closed down or too slow. The tempo's always been a thing for me this year. When we're playing high tempo, we were against Luton the other day. We looked really good. But when we're slow, and it seemed to be that every time we got the ball, it was going to Joe Rodon, and he was just trying to make that $1 million pass. And you're never going to break eye of the needle stuff. I thought defensively, Firpo looked way off it, and I thought if Sam Byron had been fit, which we know he's not for 3, I think I would have preferred him in there. I think Bogle's been good, but he gives away too many silly free kicks in dangerous positions. Strike he was turned inside out for the goal. A lot of trouble down that left-hand side was Bannister and Dolan were giving us a hard time. Was a penalty of all people, Tanaka to give it. There was no doubt from where we were. Midfield, just we'll talk about Brendan, but I just think he needs a rest. I think physically he's getting out muscled. He tries and he gives his best, but it seems he's reverting back to type for me. And up front, Pirro I thought started quite well. I thought he was getting a few passes in, but faded. Willie had a chance, good save by the keeper. Dan James was off it, and he's been really good. Then Mad Pat came on. He just seems to want to come and fight people. Then he banged his head. Yeah, he banged his head, and he had his shot, and disallowed goal offside. Ramzani, another booking. He's only played 2 quarters of a game and he's booked. So it was very hard to pick anybody out. And we go back to the substitutions, but I thought 50 minutes, you can see that this is not working. Just try somebody in, then somebody else. But 3 in one go in the 70th minute, you can almost set your watch by it. And you've got to do something different. But having said that, we are 3 points off the lead. There's 17, 18 games in. And it's not the end of the world. We're okay there. I mean, when Burnley and Sheffield win, that makes it worse. But we got to be better, and we'll talk about away form as well, because we're losing too many silly games to Stoke, to Blackburn. QPR we got hammered, but games we should be winning, and that's the frustrating thing for me. And just be better. And we beat Derby and we beat Middlesbrough, and everybody's happy again, and we're there. So we're not like we're 8, 9, 10 points off the pace that we were last year. So, and Burnley and Sheffield United have tough games coming up. I talked to their fans; they're not totally happy either. So we're on a roller coaster, and they say just let's get to the end and let's get up. Yeah, that's all we want. But don't mess it up.
Yeah,
don't mess it up.
I think. Again, the table came out. Where Leeds are after 18 versus 18 last year, and we keep taking the context in of what an absolute shit show last summer was. Locke with the takeover and everything else coming in, and again, as I said at the time, I made lots of excuses for the performances last season because we were just getting a ship together. It was being built as they were sailing. When you look at it this year after 18 games, we're 4 goals better off, but outside of that, it's exactly the same. We're same points, same games, same position in the league. Do you think there's a right to be concerned? There's question asked there by Justin. If we're not top 2 by Crimble, does Farke need to go? I still don't think we're necessarily at that stage to be talking about that. But at what point do you think you get concerned about this is very similar to last year? And knowing that if it stays that way similar to last year, we have to go on a pretty impressive winning streak to get that 90 points.
Yeah, for me, I think last year, I think I was actually all right with it because I feel like this was the type of time we were looking all right. We started to look a bit more like a team. We looked a bit more balanced last year. And then obviously, not long from now, we're going in a ridiculous run. The question about the top 2, well, it depends. Are we 15 points off it or 3? We can win a game and be top of the league. We'll be top of the league if we win because we play for everyone. But we're still top of the league. That's how close we are. I just personally don't understand it. And the conversations about last year, honestly, Joe, I'm not bothered about last year now. I think, look, at the end of the day, yeah, better team than most in here, but we've got to remember Burnley and Sheffield United above us did literally get relegated from the Premier League as well. So you got to put that into account. And as well, everyone was saying at the start of the season, everyone was losing their mind when we lost our best players. So apparently they don't mean anything now. No, they're important players to lose. Even if you replace them with good players, they're not as good as them. We have to accept that. We might look more balanced as a team, and I think we do. I think we look more balanced, better off the ball. But we don't have those players in games like that where you just need one star run or one quality shot, one little drive from Georgie or Somerville, just hit one in the top corner. We don't have that in moments. I think we were over-reliant on that last season, but I don't think we have that now at the moment. I don't, you know, when I just didn't get a feeling, Nonto, even though he got took off, but I didn't get a feeling he was going to just go on a crazy run and hit one in the top corner or any of the players, to be honest. I didn't get that feeling. Even Ramazani came on, I didn't get the feeling that he was going to win us the game.
No.
Yeah, everything's a bit messy. So I think you can add context to it. Look, I'm all right at the moment. I was annoyed after the game, as you know, Joe. I was. And I am still concerned that if we don't change it, the top 2 is going to be tough. I do think I still think it'll go down to the last 5 or 6 games. I genuinely believe that. I don't think we'll run away with it. I just don't think we are that team. But the 1-0 thing away is annoying because the things we don't have right now that we need in these away performances is, I was spoke about set pieces. We don't score from set pieces at all. Well, no, we did the other day, actually. We did, didn't we, with Pirro? But
flick on.
Yeah. How many times in a game do we see us rising for a header and getting one in? It never happens. It just never does. And it's frustrating because these are little things in games that you need to win games. When it is a tight 0-0 or 1-0 away, and you need that goal in last minute, just a scrappy, horrible one. Every goal feels like we have to kind of do something really good to score. Do you know what I mean? We have to create little passing movements and stuff. The difference between us and Sheffield United and Burnley right now is they're doing that. They're taking their chances as well. And I'll keep harping on about that until that changes. I don't think it has. Nonto has a one-on-one chance, a big chance. And he kind of just, I don't know what he tries, some weird technique. He tries to side foot it in front of the keeper across him, as opposed to just, I don't know what he did.
Makes a mess of it. Pirro wasn't sharp enough for his one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was, I don't know what Pirro tried either. That was terrible. But I think there's blame evenly for both parties. I think what's important when you're part of a team, the accountability, it's only fair if it's shared between every individual that's part of that team. Hopefully. But, I don't think you can put 80% on the manager and 20% on the players. No. I think accountability is so important for every individual. We saw some interviews about certain people maybe not taking accountability and all this stuff. But regardless of that, everyone needs to accept the situation. Everyone needs to accept that they are, as individuals and as a team, are all important, including the manager, including the coaching staff behind him, the analyst, including every single player. You're a team. It's a team sport. I keep saying this. Last year was too reliant on individuals, you could argue at times. Yeah. This year, I want more individuals to step up in that final third. There's kind of an inconsistency there. Want the manager to change some things a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Change shape slightly when we're losing. Tanaka and Rafa were getting overrun in midfield. We didn't change that. There we go. These are things that I'm looking at going, we do need to change and take accountability. That was very long. I apologize.
Great answer. No, there's loads in that. There's loads in that. I mean, and I get this, and Wayne is saying it here, problem is fans think we should be winning every game. And here's my problem with that take, Wayne. We should.
Yeah.
We should.
You would.
If this is the best team in the league and the squad that we've got on the biggest wages in the division, there should be an expectation to win more games than you lose. Yes, we're doing that right now, but this isn't the problem with this season. This is the problem with last season as well with Leeds away form. And I'll get to it in a couple of minutes and I'll show you what we're talking about when we talk about away form. It's nothing new. That's the problem with this. And that's for me where the conversation is we've seen it. Gerry, you said it yourself a couple of minutes ago. We've seen this movie before and we seem to say it, but then also expect nothing to change. So we just move on from it. So it's, I'm being probably a little bit tongue in cheek, Wayne, with this as well, because we're going to lose games, but there are certain games that get a draw, get a draw on those kind of games. And if you're absolutely outplayed by a side and you lose, or they score a banger from 50 yards, fine. To lose 1-0 to a penalty. And then I watch online. And the reaction is blocks, but it's more than that, though, isn't it, Gerry? Look, the away form's just not being great. I'll stick up my screen as you're talking, but it's not being great.
Early penalty. So I'm just looking at the cup draw, just a couple of highlights. Man U v Arsenal has come out, or Arsenal v Man U, and Man City v Salford. That's an interesting one, isn't it? We're not out yet. Liverpool have got Accrington Stanley. Who were there? Exactly.
Horrible draw, aren't we?
Yeah, and Chelsea got Morecambe. Here's Tamworth. Please, I will really want Tamworth. We're number 18, but
I don't, because we'll lose it.
I do. My mate's a Tamworth fan. No, Tamworth.
Give us a hard team, so at least we can go.
Tamworth have got home to Tottenham. Wow, that's brilliant. I love that. The one's an away one because we won't get the money. But yeah, what was the question? I'm getting carried away.
Away form. I'm going to stick on the screen when you're talking. But this is Daniel Farke's away form. James Marshman put this out the other day and played 32, won 14, lost 10 of the 32. So lost 1/3 of the away games. Scoreline in those games is there. 60% of the away losses have been by a 1-0 scoreline. And that's the issue. It's been happening a lot. And it's not changed.
Yeah, we can remember some of them. Frustratingly, we concede a goal, and you felt it on Saturday, and you feel it a lot of other times. We're just not going to get back into it. That's it. We're 1-0 down, and we're going to huff and puff. Teams know how to frustrate us, and it's really frustrating. And I don't know how we change it. We're talking about change, and what does the manager do? We got some of the best attacking talent in the division. What we should be really taking teams apart, but we don't seem to be as direct. It seems to be easy to work out what we're going to do, and teams just they do it, and those scores suggest it, because they're all narrow defeats. Except for the 4-0 at QPR, which was a mad one. But I think Farke, he's quite stubborn, and he's quite set in his ways what he does. But he has been sort of rotating the team a bit, especially the wingers. But I just think he needs to change it much quicker, and he needs to half time, if there's a change needed, make it. We could see it. We see the subs warming up every time. And we think, well, nothing's going to happen. And they must know. They must feel it as well. So, we'll go out and we'll beat someone 3 or 4-0, and then everybody's happy again, like we did against Luton. But we got to do it away from home in these tricky games. Blackburn.
As you
say, get draws.
We stay there for a little bit of time, because every time we get into the top 2, and same last year, we're there for a week and then we fall out of it again. And then an effort to get back into it again. Like, we're never the team to get in there and start winning games. And we keep being told it's the best side in the league. But yet we can't get into those top 2 spaces and pull away from teams. We get dragged straight back out of them again.
Yeah. We need to go on a run. And that's what we were doing last year. But last week probably at Swansea papered over a lot of cracks, because we were lucky in the end. We got a late winner after conceding. And before that, it was Sheffield Wednesday. So we've really got. Was that? Oh no, I thought that was us to come out there. No, we've got. We got. Even if it's draws, 4 or 5 draws in these games, better than not at all. It's. Oh, here we go. Leeds are at home. Leeds are at home. That's who we see we got, and we've got 63, which is Harrogate.
Derby.
That's all right. That.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Leeds v Harrogate.
Round.
Yeah. Well,
That's
that's
a
a local derby.
local,
That's great, Ty. Yeah, brilliant. I'm
Yeah.
delighted with
Harrogate
that.
players will love that.
Oh,
They
they
will, yeah.
love it. I mean,
Leeds,
well, it's clubs. I mean, they'll get half the gate, don't they? So whatever it is. So I mean, yeah, Tamworth will be. I mean, that's where they'd want to have a replay. But to get Tottenham, it'll be on the telly. All that. So that's good stuff. But anyway, I digress. So we got to be better. We got to win away. It's
Got to win away.
Just be better. We got a better team. We got a great team. We got a great squad. Just make better use of it. Don't drop to the levels that we're dropping to, and learn how to break these teams down. But we don't seem to change the plan. And I know that sounds like a broken record, but it is frustrating. You could feel it after 10, 15 minutes at Blackburn. I thought, this is going the same way as other games. Unless we get an early goal, then it's we're struggling. And we've got these sort of games coming up away: Preston, Stoke, Derby. Games that reek of this sort of result. They really do, and that's what I'm worried about. So, but nothing will change. 70 minutes will be the subs, and we'll.
That's the thing,
we'll
isn't it? I think that's the issue. I mean, Phil's saying here he's the highest win percentage in our history. That should be caveated as saying he is the highest win percentage in the championship in our history, because he's only managed Leeds in the championship. So to give him that accolade, I don't think is justified just yet. Same with again, I heard Square Ball guys during the week saying like, oh, we said this stuff about when Bielsa was here. Bielsa's team was valued at 15 million quid and it finished 15th in the table 3 years in a row. This team's valued at over 75 million, has the highest wage budget in the league and finished third last year and was in the Premier League the year before that. So they're not comparable for me to compare the two managers or even winning percentage in history. But I get what Phil is trying to say. It's not all bad. There's some good stuff there, and there is. But this is the issue for me. There's the home form at the moment. We're third in the home form table. Not the worst. We're only a point off Burnley when it comes to home form. But when you click it to the away form, that's when it's starting to look like a bit of an issue. Lucky for Leeds so far this season. This away form is catching up on us. If you look at it there, in our last 5 away games, we've only won once.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, again, coming back to, the 1-0s, the 2-1s, losing by one odd goal, thinking about all the types of goals we score now, we don't really score headers from any situation. We don't shoot, we don't score from the edge of the box. Our midfielders still don't score, by the way. That's still a thing. Obviously corners, but even free kicks. We don't score from free kicks. It's so we don't even really score from individual runs, running past players and then hitting it in the. You know what I mean? We don't really have a wide range of types of goals. Of course, the front four all get involved and score goals, but a lot of them are very similar. You know what I mean? So it's quite not easy to play against. Obviously, that's ridiculous, but it's quite. That how we're going to score. Basically, the best ways to defend, because if we've got a team who's got a guy who's a ridiculous shooter at the edge of the box, you can be wary of what he's doing, set pieces and stuff like that. They're probably not that afraid to give us a free kick at the edge of the box. That's the facts of it, because they know, they've got no proof. There's no specialist there that's going to score from them. And it just makes it a little more simple to make decisions against us, I think. So I think that's something we've got to look at as well, because in these tight games, like we've been saying, they're the margins. They are the margins. That's the difference. We need someone, for me, who can crash the box and score with his header, a midfielder, or someone like that. Aronson, a bigger 10 who can do that. Go in that, just crash the box and get a header, or any scraps in there. Someone big, someone powerful in there. We do need someone who can take free kicks and score from them, because when was the last time we did that? Gruev, right?
Yeah.
It's these little margins in football that just get a goal, just gets you a goal, which can get you a point or 3 points. And I think we lack that. It just came to my head, then, just thinking about the type of goals we score, to be honest.
I mean, Rothwell does take a good corner, doesn't he? I think Rothwell takes a decent corner, but nobody on the end of it.
No. Same with the free kicks. Some of the free kicks and some of the crosses I've gone in the last couple of weeks have gone into really good areas, but you're looking going, well, where's our number 9? He's on the edge of the box. Where's our number 10? He's on the far side of the pitch. Where's the winger coming in the back post? He's not there. They haven't got, they're all come across. It's a problem. I just want to go into the low block conversation, because this came up, and again, it was on Twitter and X and Blue Sky and all over the weekend. It was, can't beat a low block, can't break a low block down. This wasn't a low block, though. This is a very different situation. If you look at the XG, Blackburn had a better XG than we had going after the game, 2.1 to 1.2. They had 4 big chances in the game. We created 1, and 11 shots total versus 13. And then you get to shots inside the box 8 versus 9, block shots 4-3, outside the box 4-3. There's nothing in that. They hit the woodwork as well. Cantwell probably should have scored a very easy finish after barging his way through. So outside of the possession stat, everything else here would suggest that it was a very, very close game that Blackburn edged, which looks like it. But it wasn't. Like, Leeds had all of the ball. Like, that's the problem with this, isn't it? Like, if you just look at possession and think, well, we dominate that game, but you look at all the key statistics and actually in key areas, not so much. And that's when I look at this, Lockie, this is where I see that's not a low block game. Teams that are playing low blocks for 90 minutes don't clock up that amount of shots in the game.
I'll jump to show the screenshots, Joe. I've got some examples.
Go for it, sure.
If I'm looking here, that's where my screen is now. So I'm looking at you guys. If I'm looking over here, by the way, so I'm not just looking up. But yeah, I'll just quickly show, like, and these are took throughout the game. The one you'll see, the one at the end is in the 88th minute. So we're attacking from left to right. Look at the shape. That's not defensive. That's aggressive. That's for they're looking to win the ball high and attack. Yeah. Exactly. So again, we'll go further on into the game here. We've got the ball. This is about the 24th minute, I think. They're high. That's
a very high press. There's 5 players involved in that press.
Yeah. They're just looking to cut off midfield and not give us any space. They want us to go long. They're looking for us to go out wide. And again, further on in the game, 26 minutes, as you can see. Same thing. That 3 high, blocking off that midfield, blocking these spaces in here. I'll keep showing it. This is the second half. Exact same thing. Again and again. 88th minute here. Exact same thing. Now, what they do, obviously, when we're committing 8 or 9 bodies forward, they're going to drop deeper. They're not just going to leave a guy free in space, are they? Obviously, but that's not sitting deep or a low block. That's just common sense. Do you know what I mean? And as the opposition's getting bigger and bigger, obviously you're going to sit a little deeper and soak up the pressure. That's just good team. That's what any team does. We do that. So there's just some little things on show that's aggressive. They're still looking to get a goal and kill this game off. This is not a team that didn't want to attack and sat deep all game. It just wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's we get drawn into these things as well. Because it's a low block, can't break down a low block and go, actually, this wasn't a low block. So it's not like that's the one issue, the one Achilles heel that Leeds can't deal with is a low block. This was possibly a mid at certain points, a bit of a mid block, but not a very organized mid block.
Yeah, just cut all the lines off. Very compact. Yeah. Just cut all the lines off. Yeah.
This is the thing, though, Lucky. Do you think it's, and this is where the manager's ability to change a game comes in? For me, you put an extra midfielder in there. Like Gilavogi comes on at halftime, you go 3 in the middle of the park because the shape's not working out. And you're not telling a player coming off at halftime you're not playing well. You're saying the shape is affecting us. We have to change the shape to deal with this. And you bring Gilavogi in, you go 3 in the middle and job done. But we don't. We stick with the same system and tough it out.
Yeah, I was speaking to Andre during the game and he was showing screenshots of consistently Tanaka and Rothwell outnumbered. 3v2 in there every time. I don't know who they had in there. I can't remember if they dropped a player, who it was they dropped in, but they always dropped a player in. It was 3v2. Yeah. And yeah, if you do, and this is for me where we need that profile of a 10 who can sit a bit deeper. I'll potentially bring Gilavogi on and put Tanaka or Rothwell a little higher, probably Rothwell, just to create something different because it wasn't working. There was times we got through, obviously, that's going to happen in football games. But I don't think you look at the Luton game, how many times did we break through their lines? So many, wasn't it? We just found really good spaces. Blackburn just blocked all them off and we're very solid in doing that. Very, regimented. And this is where you're looking at going, switch to a midfield 3. At least you might have an extra body in there. Whether it'll work or not, look, we don't know, do we? But that's where you go, right, this isn't working. Let's put another body in there. You're not changing the shape too much. You're just making that 10 a little deeper and just overloading the midfield a bit. So then you can progress forward centrally. I don't know. But yeah, we didn't change it. And I think that's where that feeling of we're not winning this one came from. Because we get that, don't we, every now and again?
We do.
Where we just all get that feeling that, we're not scoring today. And we all had that again.
There's an interesting point Gerry made here by Pierre earlier on in the chat. Earlier on, I just started to keep it back. You say, taught in the friendlies in pre-season, the Farke was trying to get players to take the initiative. Now in the league, it seems to have gone back to what it was last season. I think if you look at the pre-season games, and I mean, Locke got very excited about the style of playing pre-season. And then when it did get a bit iffy, he seemed to default back to, well, no, we just do what we were doing before. Do you have faith that he'll change this, Gerry? Or do you just think he'll assume we'll drop a couple of points away from home over the course of the season, but we'll have enough to get up.
Well, he hasn't changed, and this is not over this season. It's last season as well. Fair enough. I mean, the West Brom game at the start of the season, we had a shaky start against Portsmouth and a couple of injuries and what have you. And I think fair enough. West Brom, tough place to go, but we should be better. I mean, 71% possession doesn't give a story. I'd love to see the heat map of that, and it's probably mostly around our centre circle, passing back forward, not just looking, as I said earlier, looking for the killer pass. And even when our players do get into position, their decision making and their final touch is poor. I see too many players miss control. The thing that really annoyed me was I saw 2 foul throws. Now that's just sloppy. One the referee missed, and one that they did give, and that's just pure. That's sloppy. So it should be better, and I think that sort of epitomised the day that was in it. But I never felt like we were going to score, and the changes came, and it was headless stuff, and Blackburn just picked us off. And as you said, Locke, you could see that they were the better team. Cantwell, who's got an odious little face, can't stand him, but he missed he missed that sitter that came back to him. We were just waiting for the net to bulge. The one hit the crossbar and the shot after that, and you thought, yeah, they had the best chances, and we could have no arguments to say that we were unlucky, because we weren't. We deserved a 1-0 defeat because we weren't good enough, and they did. Tactically, they were better. Not did a job on us. Tactically, they were better.
They were better, yeah.
And everybody looking at that saying, well, that's the way we play Leeds, and that seems to be what's happened with a lot of teams. You know, I think because Swansea last week came out like they normally do and go for it and have Leeds leave loads of space at the back, and that helps. But our players have got to be a bit more savvy and a bit more clinical. Games like this, because these are the fine margins that'll cost us. But as you were saying earlier, Locke, we need goals coming from other places and set pieces, runs. You know, we seem to want to pass into the net. And yes, we've scored a lot. We scored 7 goals, 2 games coming up to this. But these are the games you got to scrape 1 or 2, and we didn't look close, and that is frustrating. I don't see Farke changing his tactics. He'll stick with 70-minute subs unless there's injuries. And
Well, I want to ask you, Gerry.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about this. This is an interesting comment coming from me. He said there was a couple of comments after the game that were strange, and I said this a couple of weeks ago about just be careful of excuses starting to find their way into the field. You know, because there's been a couple of things said that were said last year starting to be said again, and the international break was one until we won a game, and then that wasn't used as an issue anymore. Yeah. But this 3 games in 6 days. Everyone had 3 games in 6 days. Every team in the league had 3 games in 6 days. How is that a reason for your team underperforming that much, considering the team that they were playing against and all of your rivals also had 3 games in 6 days? That kind of comment doesn't make sense to me, Gerry. Where does that sit with you?
We have a big enough squad, and I think Joe Rodon's interview afterwards was interesting. He was saying teams set up to play, they change their tactics, but of course they do. But you're allowed to play tactics, and I think somebody on TikTok interspersed every comment he had with a Blackburn chance. You know, teams sort of sit back and let us come out, and every time he said that, they interspersed that with a Blackburn chance, and that sounded a bit whiny to me. A bit disappointed in that. You know, you come out and say, "Yeah, we work great, we go again," blah blah blah, but don't make excuses. And this championship's. It's relentless. Yeah, although Blackburn did miss out last week on the game, but I wouldn't think of that as an excuse. You say we're all playing games, and they have a smaller squad. And you know, you look at the squad, and you think most of them I didn't recognise as such. You know, there was a few of them, and they were just and you look at ours, and we got a bench that we could rotate for all of that, and you could have changed it. So. It's poor, and we don't want to hear those sort of excuses. You know, we've got to hear right.
We said that year, no excuses. And as Shane's saying here, no excuses, but they seem to have found their way back in. And people seem to be accepting them now. We're at the start of the season. I think universally this is the year, go win it, get it done early, go walk the league, which is unrealistic, but go win the league.
I want to hear Farke say, well, it's a tough schedule, but that's what we're here for. We're going to do it, and we're going to show you, blah, you know. And this was poor today, and you know we've got to be better. And that's what fans, because we're not stupid. We can see how badly we played. But It's yeah, we're not panicking or anything, but it's just it is frustrating, and this game pops up every time. You know, we need to eliminate this game because it started getting into our home games last year as well, which ultimately cost us Sunderland and Blackburn games. So it's got to be better. It's got to be better.
You need a gap so
we
you
win
can have
5-0.
That's important, isn't it? Like you've got to have a little bit of gap, so because hiccups will happen in this league, but you want to get a gap when you can. And we've had 2 opportunities this season to go on a little bit of run, and we've kind of faltered both times already. But Gerry's just holding me to account. Thank you, Gerry. You're right. Blackburn played twice because their game of Portsmouth was cancelled, but Burnley played 3 times, and Sheffield United played 3 times. They didn't moan about it. They just got on and did it, and that's the thing for me. Is like I think it's been said here by Shane. If you lose, just say you lost. You weren't good enough. The team was better. And if it's the players that are at a problem, call the players out. You know, but don't. I mean, Lockie, we talked about the Joe Rodon. We had a text back and forth about Joe Rodon, and I put it on Twitter, and somebody said to me you didn't see the whole interview. So I went and watched the whole interview, and it still didn't make it look any better to me. It seemed like a player who was. They won't let me play football. Was what I got from it.
So that's like there's a thing in football that in any team, but in possession-based teams where the manager believes in possession, the players believe in the possession. That is the divine right to win. That's the only way you can win. And anything against that is anti-me, anti-football. And look, we played against teams at uni where we didn't need the ball and we'd frustrate them and then we'd counter and win. Better teams in higher leagues as well, like. And that's just I guess there was arrogance around possession-based managers where you'd have other managers who have an arrogance of, I don't need the ball, I'll just play it into a better area. Do you know what I mean? That, like Sam Allardyce did, for example, he used to speak about it. So there's arrogances in football and that happens. And to be fair, if it shows one thing, it shows that the players are fully behind what the manager wants because they truly believe what they're doing is the right thing, which in a way, when people used to say, he's lost the dressing room, we know that's not true because they clearly believe in what they're doing. But and I get it. Like they're part of this thing. They're defending how they play. But you can't scoff at the way the opposition play. You're a possession-based team. Yeah. Teams, what do you want them to do? Just stand there like they're going to be deep. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to stop you playing. That's what we do. That's what any team would do against you. They want to stop you playing, and they'll do that in the way that they think they can. So that's the thing in football, mate. To be honest, it's this divine right that possession-based managers think that this is the best way and the right way to play football. But what we're seeing now in football is possession-based managers coming to go against different setups, stubborn setups. You've seen it with Pep at Man City as well. These teams against him, they're just being ultra aggressive. They're almost not scared when they play out from the back. Now they go, right, we'll press you. We'll really press you and we'll win that ball. And you look at what Blackburn did. Look how high they were. They wanted to win it back. Stop where we play, win it back high up. So, I just hope that behind the scenes, they're not having this blinders on where they think, they have to know they've got to improve. And they will. I'm sure they'll work on this at training. But it is when you see a player say stuff like, you're like, come on, just don't sound so kind of confident in everything, you play the right way. That's good that you accept that and you're with that, but also accept that football's a sport where you can play any way you want and win a football game. And I just think it's a bit disrespectful. But it is what it is. He's not wrong, though. Teams do that. But that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad
But he did make another point, Lockie, where he said, we know everything about every team in this division. And when he said that, my initial thought was, then go beat them. Then go beat them. But you don't. You do the exact same thing in this game that you did in the last game, in the last game, in the last game, in the last game. And if you know every single team in the league, that would suggest that every single team plays the exact same way because you're playing the exact same way in every single game. Or the arrogance point of, well, you don't think that you need to alter your team because you're too good anyway, you'll go and win the game. And the away record shows that that's not the case, that the facts for the away results will suggest that you do need to change what you do when you go away from home. Yeah.
And to clarify, it's not a Rodon thing. I think it's just a team environment.
I love Rodon. Yeah, one of my favorite players in Leeds. Sure, I said it at the start of the year. My player of the year already. I'm calling it the first week of the season. I love the man. It just comments like that. You kind of look and go, you don't look great saying this, Joe. Maybe just say, look, they had our number today. We need to do better. We'll go and do better. We'll fix it. And then people can kind of look and go, yeah, you've taken accountability for it. You've said there was mistakes there today. They played well. Yeah, they did. But you're going to work on it and move on to the next game. Fine, no problem.
Best interview. Yeah,
that's it.
He needs to be honest and stuff. Sorry, just one sec. And I understand that. You do need to be honest, but people are going to criticise when you are honest. The best interview was Luke Ayling after that bad run.
Yeah.
And how much accountability did he take? He actually went to
All of
camera
it.
and said, we need to be better than this or we won't go up. It was brilliant. Hopefully the players behind the scenes accept they need to be better. That's all I'm saying. And I'm sure
that sort of galvanised the stat interview, didn't it? I mean, it was a later
Yeah.
stage in the season. But, we'll go out again. It's not the end of the world to say. We'll go out against Derby, and if we beat them and we beat Middlesbrough, everybody's happy again. We're talking about how great we played. It's just the next away game, which will be Preston. That's going to be an interesting one, because last year that would typified everything. Well, it was sending off and what have you, but it typified how we didn't beat a team that we should be beating. And let's be better.
Gerry,
Let's
talk about that real quick before we wrap up. Derby County on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. It's an early kickoff. We don't like them either, but it's a 12:30 kickoff. Derby's away record in the league is not great. They've only won once in 9 games. What do you want to see from Farke's, so outside of the obvious of go and win the game? What do you want to see from Farke's side against Derby on Saturday? What would you like to see changed, if anything?
Well, there's no need to be any changes from the Luton game, or any of our home games. We've been Plymouth, QPR. We've been pretty ruthless, and so you think if we got that intensity, that tempo, I keep saying it again, then we should take teams. So I don't see him making many changes. I was surprised he took Willie off first on Saturday. I thought Willie was one of our better players. Whether he'll probably rotate the wingers again. James Solomon. Will he play Nonto? Will he Aronson? These are the questions. But I don't think there'll be many changes, and we'll go like we did against Luton. And we were impressive against Luton. I felt very content coming out of that. I thought we've taken a team, and we've team who were in the Premier League last year in bad form, and we just got to do the same again. Derby are lower. The rivalry there will be. It'll be a good atmosphere, and there's no love lost. And I think the last time I saw Derby there, well, no, it wasn't the last time, but that game, I'm still not over that game. It still will be there. And we always want to beat Derby, so that will be there. But I think we just do what we did against Luton. The away form, if we were away to them, then I'd be saying we got to change things and we got to change tactically. But I don't think see it's changing much from the Luton game. And we just got to get the early goals, and we got to be clinical and put them away early. We seem to score a goal, and then we're waiting until the second goal, and it's just nervy. We did it. We got a late goal in the first half against Luton, which give us that cushion. But we always need when we go for teams at the start, which we inevitably have been, put them chances away. Get into the box. Don't get a cross in. Someone needs to be there coming in. That frustrates me. The amount of balls go across the box or behind the striker.
Yeah.
It's very basic. I can't analyze it like you, Locke, but I just know what I see, and I just say, where's Lee Chapman? Many times I said, Lee Chapman, we need him. Where is he? Come and bombing in. But some big grizzly, ugly striker who just stands there, stinking a beer and fags, and just runs in and scores. We all played with
Barry.
him.
Bring on Big Barry.
Yeah. So that's my tactical.
No, you're fine. Look, come here, and we can be as tactical as you want to be, Gerry. But at the end of the day, by looking at the game if it's going well or not. If we're doing the right things or not. And the eye test is as strong as anything else. I said, like, if you didn't watch that game and you looked at the possession stats, you think that Leeds absolutely battered them. And then you look at the rest of the stats and you realize actually that was a bit trickier than it probably should have been. But lucky, the Derby game of the weekend gives Leeds an opportunity to go back top, because they can fix this, because Burnley are playing Middlesbrough and Sheffield United at West Brom. So there's an opportunity for points to be dropped there. West Brom are drawing with everybody and their mother right now, and Burnley don't concede a lot of goals. Borough away from home stinks of an all draw, but there's an opportunity for Leeds to sort out the stuff, put it behind them, get going again, and then we'll worry about the next away game when we get to it.
Yeah. I just want to quickly say as well, that's what I love about football, all this tactics and all that. When most football just comes down to bring the big leg on, I can't even speak, the big lad on up top, and done it. That's what most football turns out to be. Right, we failed, bring him on, get the big lad on. But
old school,
I love it. It's a great sport. But bit of an opportunity, Joe. Like, look, again, we'll go top probably for a few hours. I know that tough games, but they'll probably win, won't they? You know what I mean? they'll do nothing and then get a chance and score and win 1-0 or 2-1. But hey, hopefully not. But if we're top, we just focus on ourselves. We just need to win as many as possible between now and the end of the season to be very boring and I don't know. Yeah, there's not much analysis. Just win as many as you can.
What have I started? Yeah, look, it started. Everybody's got a striker from the olden days coming back.
They're all in there now. Yeah.
Get you on, Gerry. You've still
Tell you
got
what's kind of fogey. Tell you what, though, Lockie, if I played up front of this team, I'd be very frustrated at the crosses and how late they come in. Like a nice early cross into the box, let the striker run at it and attack it. They don't. They come in way too late. Anyway, folks, we'll wrap it up there. We're not going to fix this tonight. It's another game of football. Leeds were going to lose matches. They lost this one. We've got to dust ourselves off. Derby at home at 12:30 on Saturday. And then we have Middlesbrough at home, which won't be an easy game at home at all because the Middlesbrough this season has been very good under Michael Carrick. So that's on the 10th. What's that? Tuesday, Wednesday. That game is kicking off. So I will miss both of those games. I'll be sunning myself on a beach somewhere. So Joe Blackburn can worry about it over here. Folks, massive thanks as always for checking us out. Gerry, what are you up to during the week? Are you heading down to you're assuming you're going to Derby?
I'll be at Ellen Road. Sorry about me cold tonight, and as I say, I'm suffering a bit man flu. But it's my other half's birthday for the Middlesbrough game, and I'm getting away with it, and I'm going. So she's very good. I'll be going to the game. A few Christmas dues thrown in. I've started playing football again myself.
Nice.
And and in my own head, I'm brilliant. In my own head, I can probably get some of those crosses in. But I mean, in reality, I just point a lot and don't run around. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to Saturday and putting Derby away.
Yeah, put them to the sword. Gerry, and when the day when I can still do a job falls out of your head is the day you can stop playing football properly until you believe, and you'll always believe you can still do a job for somebody at some level someday.
Still do a job.
Lockie, what's happening over your channel this week? I've seen a Brendan Aronson analysis of what he brings to the team, which I think is probably worthwhile for most people to watch.
Yeah, please. It took a long time. It took about 3 days, to be honest. Not all day, obviously, but in bits and bats. But yeah, got that out. I like it. I love doing stuff like that. Just to, I'm honest in it. I admit, look, there's times he needs to do all this, but it's just the little sides of the games that maybe people don't see.
That was really good. That was really good, that Lockie. That's all okay.
That. And there'll be a few stuff out this week. I'm going to do a monthly. I usually do every end of every month, just an update on the rankings of each player and stuff like that.
I always like that. Yeah, it's good to see at the end of every month because it brings all the games back together to have a proper review of it. So yeah, it's really good. Go check it out. Lockie's details down below in the comments, and you can check Gerry out on Twitter at GerryMac123. You can check him out there. And I'll be back in the morning for the news before I hand over to Joe for a couple of days. So enjoy the rest of your day. Go do something nice. It's been a dour enough kind of conversation about winning. Go pet your dog, and if you haven't got a dog, go pet somebody else's dog. Like, do something nice for yourself. Give yourself a few minutes. And I'll be back in the morning, folks. Enjoy yourselves, and thanks as always for the support. I'll see you soon. Bye.
See you, boys.